Okay, so, this is going to be me drawing, Oliver. He's one of my original characters, Oliver Wesson. So I made him up myself. He's got storyline, he's got his own life, I have a couple notes there on the side. You'll see me write a lot of notes so that I don't forget to do things, or so that I don't, to write notes for myself. So, I have a very short attention span, so I do need that. He's going to come to life a lot more as we go through this. It's not going to end up looking like it does now, I promise. I think I was having a rough hand day that day as well. But let me tell you a bit about Oliver, right? Because he's my original character. So he's in a whole bunch of different storylines, doing a whole bunch of different things. The original one, he was a cyborg. But hear me out. He was a cyborg. It was a whole thing. I'm not going to go into it now. I do not have time. But it rendered him colorblind, completely colorblind, so we saw everything in grayscale, which I'm actually gonna, have a head nod to in the palette for this, which is just the colors I'm going to use. As well as, I guess I'll read you a couple of the little bulletin points that I have down there, maybe toward the end, but while I'm doing this, I guess I'll highlight things like, so, see where he always has tired lines under his eyes, and I'm going to, get into those details a bit later when I might redraw. I think I'm going to redraw a couple of his faces. And that's because, first, I didn't like them. And second of all, he's got a lot of character in his face. Everybody does, right? But it's in the little things like the lines under his eyes. He's tired. He's a very tired and tried man. He's cynical. He's got a very dry humor that, not everyone can appreciate because it's so deadpan. He is very paranoid. Oh gosh, I don't even know what I'm working on here. Sometimes it's very hard to tell. I'm sure it was very important at the time, but it's hard to see now. But he is, what was I saying? Very cynical. He is hunted. He feels like he's hunted all the time. Okay, so on the right here, that's a very old drawing I did about 1,000,000 years ago, but it was similar. I used the same palette, so I put it there just for reference for myself and for you guys. Anyway, so he's, always feeling hunted, like I said. He's a certifiable genius. He's very, very smart. Can get himself into and out of almost any situation, and he frequently does. This guy finds himself in so much trouble all the time, and they're always really high stakes, it's like, trouble with the government kind of trouble, you know what I mean? So, I don't know, but he always gets himself out of it. He's the kind of guy to have deals with people in high places. And he comes out on the other end, benefited, usually, because he really knows what he's doing. He's capable of anything, this guy. It's a good thing that he really only, has in mind, jokes about death and stuff. So, whatever. He has a lot of piercings. You can see, maybe when I'm working, it doesn't look like I'm doing much now. Maybe the airbrushing on his features, but I think that's probably when I'm working on details like the piercings. Not that you can see them very well, but basically, when he would come home every day, when he had a bad day, him and his twin sister used to pierce each other to make each other feel better. They'd be like, "Oh, you have a rough day? Do you want another piercing?" And the answer was always yes. So they have a lot of piercings, and he has 2 snake bites. They're mostly on his ears, but he has 2 snake bites on his chin. And despite this, he always seems to be able to blend in really well. He's also into, like, astrobiology and space and stuff. Oh, I'm so sorry about the flashing, the fast, high-speed flashing. That's me trying to figure out my background. Always takes me almost longer than the actual thing, actually. And that's me writing down some stuff I'll go through. My pen's not working right now. I promise, however frustrating it is for you, it's more frustrating for me, so I was a bit worried I would just have to copy that in. But anyway, so this was a certifiable nightmare to draw, I'm gonna be honest, because the pen is not working and it's so frustrating. But anyway, so that's Oliver. Let me read some of these things for you. So, like I said, completely colorblind. That's, everything's in grayscale. I'm not sure if I'm keeping that in all storylines, but in some of them at least. He has a condition called low latent inhibition, and it's worth looking up. It's really interesting. And the only reason he's, like, functional is probably because of his high IQ. It means he has to, organize himself a lot differently than most people. He's very paranoid, like I said. A certifiable genius, remarkably thin. Him and his twin sister both. They're remarkably thin people. Just naturally. Can get him, blah, blah, blah. Has some very, blah, 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 okay, so he's super into astrobiology. That's like, and like, I put a little alien emoji there. So, you know, the stars, things like that. But he usually works in engineering, mechanics, that sort of thing. Just, I don't know. That's just how it seems to work out for him. He's great for storylines because he can get himself, like I said, in and out of some really high-stakes situations. Like, what is he into now? Not really one to mess with because, like I said, get himself out of it. He can do that. And that's Oliver Wesson. That's him. Thank you.